Wassail, beautiful people. I'm loving this new little series about Pluto and how the energies of Aquarius, being the home of Pluto for the next 20 years, or at least the residence, not necessarily the home. Its home is obviously in Scorpio. But how this energy of this powerful planet, Pluto, remember, is the god of the everything under the surface of the earth, all the riches that we mine and utilize to create lives, and how that energy is shining with different astrological aspects on the different houses in your natal chart, not just your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, but looking at how it energizes other aspects in your natal chart to assist you in growth. I really, really do love it. Remember, Pluto takes 248 years, so this really is a once in a many generational moment for a different kind of energy. And as I say, it will be there for 20 years. It will nip back into Capricorn towards the end of the year, sort of October, November, but then it's there for 20 years. And here we're looking at the energy of sextile, which is 60 degrees. And so it's 60 degrees away from both Aries and Sagittarius, both fire signs. And they're ruled Aries by Mars, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Beginning as each of these have, we're going to look at Pluto. But sextiles are a very comfortable aspect. The card of sextile talks about a flirtatious opportunity. So it's very important to understand as we go through this reading, this need for playfulness, this need of a fearlessness. It's like coming up against a guard dog and you want to join or go into the place the dog is guarding. And when you finally approach the dog, it rolls over and it's all kind of playful. So it's how you approach. It's by being fearless. Pluto, like the dog, will not register or hear the fear within your auric field and your rhythmic field is what I want to say. Partly because aspects in the musical alchemy of astrology deck all represent rhythms rather than musical notes. So they're changes in tempo, in frequency, and pulses. Pluto is identifying stuck shadows. So this morning while I've been preparing for this, there's been a very strong sense of another human you buried beneath the crustal debris. And how for the last 20 years, we've kind of been troweling the wrong crustal debris. We've almost been searching in all the wrong places. They're the wrong places, though. That's the point. They're all options for growth. And I think part of it is that now the growth becomes apparent as we move through this next 20-year cycle. So this other us is a dormant ice volcano beckoning to us. Diamagnetic prospecting. Diamagnetic is to go against the natural pull of something, to retune yourself so that you can flow into a different frequency. Very individual, very much your own tuning is what's coming through. It's also bismuth, unknown metamorphosis. And I think that here with the sextile energy, with this opportunity, it's almost like approaching this not from the angle of what will you become, what is the pathway that is open to me, but merely, again, just to emphasize this playfulness to let something unfold that you don't know the version of you you're going to dig up. You have no idea what kind of frequencies and energies, but that doesn't matter. It's the journey to find the plot in which your future has been buried throughout your lifetime. So there's this soft timpani roll. It's a very light, natural, sustaining vibration. It's also the spine. In sound healing, the spine is used as a kind of first line of wiring of all the other energies that come in through our auric field. For me, energies come in from behind. They wire into your spine, they go through your nervous system and then into the body. The only one that behaves slightly differently is Jupiter, which is coming at the end. Jupiter is your energy wings. The great cleanser, and that comes in at the back of your neck through the spine, and then it travels down your body, back out and up around the side like two angelic wings that spin, and all the other energies are cleansed by Jupiter. And this often isn't taking place for us because it's a little bit like our wings have been clipped through the experiences of our life. Or our lives. It's harder to say a V without teeth. So, on the back of the Musical Alchemy of Astrology card for Pluto, we have the polarities: I am returned or I am buried. So, there you go. You can return yourself if you unbury the future you. But there's something here about a blind trust. You don't know the version of you you're digging up, but just trust that it needs to come out of the soil. So in the buried side, we have the frequencies of being terrified. Well, we all know what that feels like. Being concealed in fear, that's that approaching of the guard dog Pluto or Cerberus. Paralyzed by darkness. Not wanting to look, the snarling noises that we imagine we hear can very easily stop us from moving into that shadow world to identify those shadows that are stuck and entombed in a spiritual sarcophagus. This is a really important energy because we all have spiritual pathways, spiritual beliefs, and they have to be undogmatic. You have to be able to transform your spiritual beliefs to fit the music of the spheres of the now moment, and they're not resonating in the old frequencies anymore. So this is to be bounteous. Winter is summer. You know, Pluto offers you the chance to enrich your life to such a splendid height that it just feels like joyful summer throughout the year. To be nestled calmly in your frame, to come into your truth, to resonate truly in the molecules that you have inherited. And your balanced body brimming with minerals. I'm currently taking small doses of electrolytes with all the water that I drink because I think over my long odyssey throughout France, Portugal and South America, I have drained my body of essential minerals, so it's not allowing my true frequency to resonate. It's been dampened. So there is something within this about looking at your intake, how you eat, what things you might be in love with consuming that are not necessarily lighting your fire within. It's almost like, so they're showing me like twigs and sticks, and yes, all of the wood will burn, but all wood burns with different properties. So somehow there's that energy for us to look at. So let's have a look at sextile. Sextile, as I said, is a flirtatious opportunity. It's the Sarba. I don't know how you say that. It's a Romanian folk dance. This frequency was picked up when I was in Romania. Also, remember Anna, who drew all the beautiful artwork for these cards, is Romanian. And I went to her exhibition there and found some new paintings for some of the cards that have been included. It's a folk dance. It's about going back to our roots, finding frequencies that we've lost that were once part of us. And then it's this 6/8 rhythm. The sarba is a 6/8. And so that's this very jig-like, dancey, being involved in your life, but in a kind of joyful, flirtatious, playful way. So this is about reaching out to who? To you first. Always start with yourself. And then how you reach out to others. Being sweetly helpful. But you can't be sweetly helpful to others if you're being mean to yourself. So you need to be sweetly helpful to those shadows that Pluto is holding up for you, to say, come and play with my shadows. You'll find they're a lot more harmonious than you imagine. And creating supportive patterns in your life, in your mind, in your emotions, and then collaborating with Pluto and whatever else you have in Aries or Sagittarius in your natal chart to induce changes within you. So the polarity is I am supportive or I am unhelpful. Where do you sit in that scale? And remember, we have to open that scale fully to understand how better to sit on it. And we can return to unhelpful moments. And then we can swing on to supportive moments. There's not a kind of energy here where you only have to be supportive. Sometimes us being unhelpful to another is an energy that helps another support themselves, but they may not see it that way at first. So we have this energy of being wearisome, being tired. So when a sextile's not working properly, we're turning away from opportunity, from playfulness, from joy. And then we can guiltily, but purposely create discord without knowing that we're doing it. And that's a challenge in itself, to recognize that we can go through frequencies and they just happen because they need to happen. To learn for ourselves and to be an example to others of how we've learned and how we've transformed. This also has the energy of a refusal to join someone else's party. When you're not feeling playful or the center of attention playfully, you can be kind of the person that just won't join in because you're so fearful of the shadows that might arise if you join someone else's group. And they can be all kinds of things. That energy, again, of turning away. The energy of not being comfortable, feeling as though you've given control of the next few hours of your life by being with this group of people, that somehow you will lose some aspect of yourself. You've got to be in both of these frequencies. You've got to recognize why we can be unhelpful and why we can be supportive. And this also, it's interesting, it has overwhelmed with fury, but staying silent. And that's got a very strong connection with both Aries and Sagittarius in its own way. So I think I'm going to do this slightly differently today. I'm going to next move to the card of fire. Since Aries and Sagittarius are both fire signs, it might be worth hearing first Pluto sextiling fire. So fire is big, passionate ideas. a blasting brass section, powerful energy. So this is when we have working in a realm, because the elements are a realm. So there are spirits that live in the different realms. So in the fire realm, you have salamanders, Achanisi, and Jinn are all fire elements. And they can exist in this world that we live in, this three-dimensional earth, but they also live in the realm of fire. And no other elements other than fire elements can exist in that space. So it really is a dimensional space that's full of passion, full of fire, full of speed, full of burning desires. So burning desires, what are your burning desires? You know, how can you achieve your burning desires? By trusting in how you unearth the fire aspects that Pluto is hiding from you. And Pluto wants you to find them. It's also spontaneity. How spontaneous do you feel in your life? There's an impulsiveness and it's an excitable energy. There are points in our life where thrill, spontaneity, and excitement can all be clothed in a sense of fear because we're losing control by moving in the flow of the moment. And so it's really important to become, again, more playful with the fears that you're associating with Pluto. So on the reverse of the card, I am dazzling or I am dim. So this is the compass point in fire of the south. Think of how the sun tends to move through the south, illuminating things. This is about birth in summer. It doesn't mean you have to wait until summer. This is a 20-year period. There's going to be 20 summers for you to work on. So I am dazzling, blazing. This is Archangel Michael with his fiery sword. And obviously fire is the tarot suit of wands. And purification processed by the renal glands. So again, I'm just being nudged to mention looking at what you consume and what elements, minerals, vitamins you might be lacking that could help inspire the fires within you. Let's look at Aries. Aries, first sign of the zodiac, flaming action. The one-man band. This is a time to work on yourself. Aries also currently, just at the moment, remember, is North Node. So it's a very important energy for everybody to be looking at. There are aspects, hidden esoteric wisdom that links to your destined path forwards. This is cardinal fire. New, sparkling narratives, big, passionate ideas coming through to you from Pluto. This energy of working with this playful energy that Pluto is offering. So this is burnish to life. Burnish is often seen as something that creates a sooty, darkened patina over the surface of something that needs polishing. But actually, Aether works slightly differently. Aether doesn't burn. Aether is more a lit clarification. But you don't want to sit in that lit clarification for too long because then it can become uncomfortable. So this is about opening yourself up to allow a flash, allow inspiration, allow something new and passionate to enter your life, and then how you take that on board and move and walk and work with that frequency, actualizing potential. So this is very much the energy of yang, the energy of actioning. And actually, on the back, it's I am action or I am inaction. And this is saying you become the action when it's time for you to become the action. So at the moment, Pluto is 0 degrees of Aquarius. So look at your 0 degrees of Aries, and that's talking about something that you really need to find space and time right now to action. So for me, I have Chiron at 0 degrees of Aries. And Chiron in this deck talks about being healed. So I need to action personally within my natal chart how I action my healing. If you have planets like I have Saturn later, you need to kind of imagine that Pluto moves a degree forwards and retrograde, on an average around 1 year and 8 months. It's a 20-month kind of period. So you can look at where your aspects or planets or asteroids are, and you can calculate roughly when in time that will be. And you can also Google when certain planets reach certain points so that you can find out the time frame that you're working on. And if you've got something in late degrees, it's going to take a lot longer before that energy really sings to your soul. So this is the ram that slams through jams. This has got an energy of Ganesh, the remover of obstacles, the remover of your destiny, uncovering truths about you that will move you forwards. And it's also calcination, which is to expel volatilities. So this is talking about that energy of angry Mars, calm Mars. So this goes back to the calends of March and October, the 1st of March and the 1st of October. The 1st of March is the period when in ancient Rome they called upon the energy of Mars to make someone a warrior, to give someone the power to go into the war. And Mars is the war with one. And I'll discuss Mars a little bit more in a moment. But then on the calends of October, that's when they removed that energy, removed that fury, and went to the calmness of the harvest. So there's something here about understanding aspects of yourself. It's not right for you to say, I'm an Aries, therefore I'm the ram that slams through jams. Because sometimes you could be doing that and hurting others. You have to know when to push something and when to harvest the things that you've been working on. So that's a really important war with one to be one. But we'll come to Mars in a minute. It just feels like Mars and Aries in this energy are so united here. So in the less positive energies, in the inaction energies, there can be a frequency of selfish. Do you recognize when you're selfish? Do you easily lash out? Do you have a constant necessity for validation? And do you hold grudges like a treasure to cherish? Because they're not helping you move forwards. They're not helping you heal. They're like a natal birth plot that you almost need to sell now. It's served its purpose. The land is barren. It's time to move to a more fertile place within your soul. So on the actioning side, resolver, luminous within, shining with that aether light. Oh, inner aether inspiration. So connecting with that frequency, you will become trustworthy and a dependable leader if you can move and action the positive side of whatever planets you have in your natal in Aries. And the honest speaker of gentle needed truths, as opposed to the ram that slams through jams. Let's look at Mars. Mars is the war with one, inner martial drumming. That's almost, I'm now seeing this energy of this inner martial drumming, this rhythmic tapping of a rhythm that's not 6/8. It's not you being playful. It's almost martial. Well, it's martial drumming, but what I mean is it's almost warlike. It's almost cross. It's almost angry. And that's this energy of troweling the wrong crustal debris. You can change that. You can change the rhythm of your life. So it's a self-survival frequency. But the question would be, at what cost and to who? So this is strong-boned. This is powerful energy. Energy as passion. Big passionate ideas, that fire sign frequency, that blasting brass section. It's almost like the brass section, your inner life force has to become the new rhythmic tonality to bring you into that 6/8 rhythm, to be more playful. This has the energy of driven ambition. And that goes back to this notion of desires. The things that we desire, the burning desires within us. Are you using the burning desires within you to singe you, the world, and others around you? Or are you controlling your desires and actioning steps towards achieving, winning the war with one within you? And this is also iron, which is human fortitude, strength. So I am powerful or I am weak. Where are you truly on that scale? When you're feeling weak, it's creating a greater sense of anger. When you are weak, it creates a greater desire to hurt yourself and others. When you're weak, you're stressing your immune system. Again, going back to, do you have all the right balanced minerals within your diet, within your body, to shine more playfully and dig up the better version of you? And you can, when you're weak, have a destructive rage through rash impatience. Does your weakness make you have actions without thinking first? The ram that slams through jams. When you're feeling powerful, there's a sense of feeling stable and secure. When you're feeling powerful, there is a sense of having a constructive and adventurous energetic frequency. The harvest after all the shadow work, that is a really important message. That's the calendar of October, the 1st of October. It's time to undo the martial Mars and turn into the lover Mars. And iron obviously creates hemoglobin to supply oxygen to the body, returning a divine breath of life frequency. Very powerful frequencies to work with. As I say, you need to look at your own natal, see what you have in Aries, and find out roughly what time frame in the next 20 years that will be active. And then, as in when Pluto matches, and that will give you an energy that you can prepare for, because you can start these things way ahead so that when they come up, they pass by in a beautiful, calm and serene frequency, rather than waiting for that moment alone to face the shadows and dig up your new self. Sagittarius. Sagittarius is mutable fire. So opening a channel for change. It's a different thing. It's an energy that opens space within polarities for the cardinal fire of Aries to come in. So it might be that you want to look here at what you have in both Aries and Sagittarius, and how do you transform those so that later you can fix them in with the fixed fires of Leo, which is in opposition to Pluto currently. So Sagittarius is the bard hero of the heart. So this is about singing with love. This is about being a love minstrel, wandering the world, singing songs, frequencies, emanating love from your heart. This is the orchestral repair shop. And that's why it's mutable, because it gives you the chance to open up and fix things. So this is bravery inspired through love. I love that phrase. Bravery inspired through love. Not war, just courageousness. The élan vital. To live a truly bright and shining spirit frequency in your everyday. It's also quantum souls. When you open more space, you invite somehow the energy frequency for you to witness other people who you imagined you were not quantumly entangled to, but in truth you were, because part of your journey was to project energies that you haven't dealt with onto others. So sometimes you can't meet somebody because you're still resonating the wrong frequency. You're resonating a shadow aspect. And so as you work on these, as you bravely open space and transform, then you allow space for that projection to be renewed. So when you meet the person, they are the matching frequency and not a distortion of a fear that you have within yourself. This is unblocking thermal rivers. Unblocking the fires, unblocking the heat, opening something up to make something new. And in the alchemical process, it's ceration, which is softening blockages. And it's usually done by applying a kind of liquid or water that's very warm, very slowly, very consistently. So there's something in this energy that has patience attached to the frequency. On the reverse of the card, I am courageous. Oh, there we are, courageous. I am fearful. So when you're in your fearful energy, that's associated whatever you have in your natal in Sagittarius, this has the energy of promiscuity. And I don't just mean sexual, I just mean all frequencies where you're putting yourself out there in a broken state. You need to return to the orchestral repair shop and fix things. When you're fearful, you will not be told. When you're fearful, you burn bonds with buddies. You cut people out when you're fearful. And also when you're fearful, you indulge your bestial nature. So Sagittarius represents a kind of aspect of Chiron, although Chiron is not Sagittarian energy. Chiron is something separate. But it's the idea of being half beast, half man. It's the idea of civilizing yourself. And Chiron was the most civilized of all of the centaurs. So that's a very strong energy that's going on here. So when you're courageous, then you're compassionate. And that's Bard Hero of the Heart territory. When you're courageous, you are a vast emotional intelligence. When you're courageous, you're endlessly learning and improving. You also can feel much more like you're an independent traveller walking your life, not the life others tell you you should walk. So this is the chivalrous, worldly wise, healing, spiritual warrior. What an amazing energy to get playful with. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. I spoke about Jupiter earlier. Jupiter is the great cleanser, the symphonic pedal organ, an instrument so vast, so powerful, it can drown out an orchestra. They're enormous, incredible instruments with hundreds and hundreds of pipes that have different voices. So Jupiter's a really powerful energy. It has a 12-year orbit. And this is about aligning the vast flow. So you're in Sagittarian energy. You look for what you have in your natal. You open that mutable, passionate fire so that you can align more space for the flow of Jupiter. I'm being drawn to that notion. I'm seeing the red spot on Jupiter, that throbbing, vast storm. This is about calming your storms. This is expansive healing. Huge, expansive frequencies coming in. This is also, Jupiter represents great fortune, the bringer of joy. There is a playfulness to Jupiter. There's just something really, I'm just sensing this joyful dance, this sarba between Jupiter and Pluto here is just so joyful, so playful, so wonderful a frequency. It really is. And it's also tin. It always struck me as very odd that tin, which is such a flexible metal, would be Jupiter. You would expect Jupiter in alchemy to be a much more substantial metal, but the point of Jupiter is tin was part of the creation of the Bronze Age. It's necessary to make bronze, but it's also flexible, and that's really what it's talking about, this flexibility to heal. It's also the note G, if you want to look at the frequency. So in the polarities, it's I am vast or I am tiny. How do you see yourself in the world? Are you vast? Are you tiny? When you feel tiny, do you become apathetic? When you feel tiny, do you feel disassociated from your emotions? And it's interesting that I say, do you feel those emotions? Possibly not, because you're disassociating from them. When you feel tiny, you feel dangerously hemmed in. Like you open space and then you allow a kind of Aries ram that slams energy to come through. When you feel tiny, all the energies that are unaligned begin to distort around you and further hem you in. So when you feel vast, you feel generous, giving, gifting, supportive. When you are vast, you feel open-hearted. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is the bard hero of the heart. When you feel vast, it offers you joyous expansion to you and then shining through you as an example to others. Jupiter is the sky god of cosmic order and laws. And when you feel truly cleansed and healed, you can understand that some things that felt difficult, that hemmed you in when you felt tiny, were merely to show you how to feel vast, because you will begin to understand the purpose of cosmic law. And it's the energy wings that cleanse all the frequencies that we have around us when we are in human form. So these are the energies you're working with. I'm going to do 2 little napkin readings to see what the cards would like to say to move you forwards. I just want to also mention briefly, with Aries, you have the frequency of Quawar, the galactic singer of existence, the cosmic shaman, and you also have the energy of Vesta, the inextinguishable flame. Background pink noise, and from within that noise, your Quawar, your inner Quawar, can create bliss. It can sing new tunes into existence. And then we have, for Sagittarius, we have the asteroids Juno, which is about merging relationships. We have Haumea, birthing instinctual trust. And we have Makemake, environmental wisdom. So there are other heavenly bodies that might have an aspect of help that they can bring to you within your Sagittarian placements or your Aries placements. And as I say, they're currently sextiling Pluto for 20 years. So, wassail, beautiful people.